So apparently Ubisoft delayed Assassin's Creed Shadow finally, because they finally understood that the game ain't selling shit and that they need to fix a lot of things on the game. A lot of things.
Ubisoft is in trouble would be the understatement of the year. They are facing problems across the board, and this is what happens when identity is the central focus of the projects that you're working on.
Yes.
Identity politics, diversity, representation, and inclusion, getting those DEI points.
Especially whenever you're arguing that your game is all about identity, diversity, and cultural representation. And then guess what? The thing that you just said, cultural representation, is actually being done in the worst way possible. Right?
When that is the central focus, everything else is going to suffer. We have seen it time and time and time again, and Ubisoft is very interested in the identity politics aspect of these video games, but they're not actually interested in making games that players are interested in. And now we have Assassin's Creed Shadows being delayed until February 2025.
Again, the focus of games should always be gameplay. You can focus on representation, you can focus on diversity, anything.
Right. It's bad,
but only
it's
after
very,
gameplay.
Very bad.
Gameplay first,
So
always. If not, you're not doing a game. You're doing a movie. You're doing a show, an anime, a manga, whatever the fuck it is. Not a game, though.
Assassin's Creed Shadows until February of 2025. The company explained, while the game is feature complete, the learnings from Star Wars Outlaws release led us to provide additional time to further polish the title. So they're already telling you that, yeah, the Star Wars Outlaw situation being a complete and total disaster, we are trying everything we can. And they're in full panic mode is what they're doing. They're in full-on panic mode. This is the release that they put out. And I commented right here, what's the magic word to get what you want? Racist. That's exactly what they're going to be doing when this game ultimately underperforms. Now, is this game going to sell a lot? 100% it's going to sell a lot. No doubt about that. It's an Assassin's Creed game, and it's going to sell a lot. So I'm not here to dispute that. But we know what the game is whenever they push an identity politics-driven video game, movie, television show, and it faces any level of criticism whatsoever. That's the plot. That's the play right there. Is like, hey, you're just racist if you don't like it. Let's see. Legacy Killer says one thing has become clear today, and that is Ubisoft is truly freaking out and concerned that Assassin's Creed Shadows won't be a hit. Moving out of the attractive holiday season for a February release really does say a lot. Outlaws underperforming must have really scared them. 100% on that. Madam Savvy has his tweet, 2,500 to 3,000 people have worked on this game. Think about that for a minute.
Wait, how many people?
The pre-orders are so bad.
Holy, 3,000 people. That's
free
insane.
DLC, which was just
Didn't GTA 5 had like 500 people?
Their staff, by their own admissions, are more focused on workplace water cooler culture than their work. Poor leadership and the inability to tell people this is bad, do better, has caused the game to be a nightmare for them. This directly contradicts what they've been trying to say, that everything is fine. So this is a serious situation for them, and I think that they are trying to do everything they can to spin this. But ultimately, the failure of Star Wars Outlaws has really triggered them, and rightfully so. When I said it, then the clip of me talking about Star Wars Outlaws has been used 1,000 times to say that he's a racist and a sexist because it's completely out of context, because that's what they do. I've explained what I meant by that. But that clip where I'm talking about Star Wars Outlaws the first time that I saw the trailer, it's all about the identity politics-driven nature of this stuff. My favorite game in the last decade is Metroid Dread. Guess what type of person is the lead character in Metroid Dread? That's right, a woman. And Metroid Dread is one of the best gaming experiences I've had in a long time. So no, I don't have a problem with female characters or women in video games. I have a problem.
Why would it have a problem with Metroid character being a woman, though? To be completely fair,
where that is the central.
She always was the main character.
Clear with Star Wars Outlaws.
Easier to say you just don't like Metroid.
Focus of the video game, not to tell a good story, not to create an interesting video game with great gameplay mechanics and a good story and interesting characters to interact with. No, at the forefront of this was, hey, this is identity politics. This is a badass woman, and you have to accept that this is a badass woman, and she
Yeah,
can
that's
do
kinda lame.
everything men can do, and so much more. That was what
Like,
the present.
you can do that in such a smart, cool way that everyone likes it. Just like he himself said, Metroid, a cool woman, leader, savior of the fucking universe, and everyone likes her, right? She's a strong, independent woman that can do what every man, everyone else can do, and everyone likes her. Why? Because it didn't force you down your throat. It was a good game. First of all, it was a good game with a good story. And whenever they revealed it was a woman, everyone already liked her, right? You can argue that for plenty of other games, right? Lara Croft, she does her thing. She goes there. She fucks up the fucking people that are trying to steal the artifacts and relics and everything. She's a strong, independent woman that literally kill people that use weapon with a fucking bow made of wood, right? And everyone still respect her, right? So like, come on, there are ways to do it right. The thing is that most of these studios are just trying to do the bare minimum and thinking it's going to fucking pass. And it won't. Sorry, homie, and it won't. You gotta put in a little bit of effort.
Presentation of Star Wars Outlaws was because it comes from Lucasfilm, who's been on record telling us time and time again that identity and representation is the #1 focus from Lucasfilm, and the same has happened with Ubisoft. And now, of course,
It has happened with every AAA studio on the West.
That has identity politics at the forefront.
That's why all of them are failing.
This is their flagship franchise, and now they're seeing the internal data and the pre-sales, and they're looking at the fact that, as Savvy said, you got 2,500 to 3,000 people working on this game. The budget's out of control, and again, Assassin's Creed will always sell.
Yes.
But will it sell to the level it needs to justify the budget? And I think that is what Ubisoft is really panicking
Maybe
over
after
right now.
this delay, I don't think it will, though.
Franchise,
They're going to have 5 months to fix the game. That ain't happening.
Trouble.
That ain't happening.
So now we're in panic mode. They're in full panic mode right now, and I'm loving every single bit of it.
Especially, by the way, if the game was already... depending on what changes they do on the game, and the game has already been burned out in CDs, DVDs, and sent to a bunch of places, then that shit can incur in a lot of expenses. Like,
this
really,
get what you deserve. This has happened more times than we can count, and we're going to continue to monitor this situation and see exactly how they are going to respond. But I am prepared for the racist, sexist, misogynistic nonsense from Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed
100%.
Shadows to justify
100%
why
they're
this
gonna
game
try and
is
do
not
this.
performing well,
Yes.
and why it's not going to perform well. Again, it will sell millions and millions and millions of copies. There's no doubt about that. It's an Assassin's Creed game. It's going to have those mechanics. It's going to have that fan
100%.
base, but it's not going to transcend the fan base, and it's not going to make anyone that's not just a type of person to eat it up early on. Almost like The Last of Us Part 2. The Last of Us Part 2 sold like 10 million copies.
Yep.
And it was all because of the momentum from The Last of Us.
Yep.
Last of Us 2 sold a ton of copies, but ultimately they didn't really update those sales figures after that first couple of weeks, did they? It's interesting why they didn't talk about that much. But you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for checking out this video, and we will talk to you later.
Listen, I am not against identity politics. I am not against diversity, inclusion, and everything. I just think that if you want to do that, you gotta actually do it right. You can't do the fucking sloppiest job, right? And just forcing everything down the consumer throat and expect them to like it, right? If you actually want to talk diversity, if you actually want to talk inclusion, right? If you want to make a badass woman character, if you want to make a black character, an Asian character, an European character, an American character, a Native American character, whatever the fuck you want to do, you actually gotta put in the effort. You actually gotta write a good storyline. You actually, to justify what she is, how badass she is, what the fuck he, she, they are doing, right? You gotta actually put in the effort. Lore-wise, gameplay-wise, right? Everything around what a game is, the music, the gameplay, the game feel, the lore, the story, the features of the game, everything has to be thought out to be actually good. It doesn't matter if you just do the bare minimum in gameplay bare minimum on story, bare minimum on sound effects, bare minimum on systems, bare minimum on mechanics, bare minimum on everything, and then you just go like, boom, identity politics. Then you know what you're gonna actually make? You're gonna make people hate diversity and inclusion tactics. You know why? Because you're doing this sloppiest job. You're just trying to pass with a 6 or a 5. The problem is, gamers, different from a lot of people from other media, don't actually like or accept a 5 or a 6 that easily, right? Motherfuckers here on the gaming sphere actually want an 8 or a 9, right? And because they actually want an 8 or a 9, if you want to actually develop a character with diversity, inclusion, minorities, whatever the fuck you're trying to do, right? If you're trying to do gay representation, trans representation, whatever it is, you gotta actually put in effort. Wow, who would have thought about that, huh? Actually trying to create a cool character that people vibe with. There's no problem if they're lesbian, if they are gay, if they are trans. If you actually make them a relatable, cool, badass character in a cool game with cool fighting scenes, with cool lore, with an amazing gameplay, then people will like it anyway. So maybe just stop doing the sloppiest job you can because you're doing dumb shit, spending money on trying to make every hair behave differently on physics, right? Or trying to make the characters' pores appear on the game and actually invest your money in something that makes more return. Like, for example, who knows? Gameplay, lore, story, the basic stuff that actually create a game, and then your representation game, your diversity game will actually be good, and people will actually like the character. Wow, who could have thought of that? Oh my god. Isn't it so fucking obvious? Like, just develop a good game, and that character will be enjoyed. It's that simple. It is what it is, okay? Interesting to see that they're delaying the game. I can guarantee you, in those 5 months before the launch, they ain't going to fix anything. They're just trying to cover up the smoke, right? They're just trying to deflect all the controversies and everything they're involved into. I can guarantee you that shit will still backfire. They're not going to make the game good enough in time. 100%. That ain't happening. Not even if they pay overtime for all the 3,000 people, that shit is happening. So yeah, pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but that is my opinion on gaming, diversity, inclusion, and everything else, representation, minorities, and everything. I feel like everything is valid. I feel like people will accept diversity, inclusion, minority, whatever the fuck you want to call it, if you actually do a good job. And not the sloppiest shit, and then complain, oh my god, people don't like minorities or diversions, y'all are a bunch of racists, xenophobics, whatever it is. Like, what? Maybe just try to do a good job first? Maybe, right? Instead of doing this fucking under average type of performance. But yeah, pretty much it. If you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to my channel, follow me on my Twitch. I do stream everything on Twitch and YouTube. Join my Discord if you guys want to debate anime, game, tech, whatever the fuck it is. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Bye-bye.